Brynn's final speech. Rock and roll, girl.
All right. So the theme of my final speech for this class is about sowing and reaping, specifically how Mrs. B has sown seeds into my life through the books we've read over the years and the ways I've reaped those benefits. Galatians 6:7-9 says, "A man reaps what he sows. The one who sows to please his sinful nature, from that nature will reap destruction. The one who sows to please the Spirit, from the Spirit will reap eternal life. Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." Mrs. B, you have been sowing into my life, all of our lives, for the past 4 years. It may be too early to reap the whole harvest just yet, but you've nurtured us into strong, fruitful plants, and we are blessed to be able to go into this world with all the love you've tended us with. When I first started your class in 2016, I had never taken a group class in homeschool, and I was very excited, but I was anxious and uncertain of what was to come. From the very first day of class with you, you made me feel included, like I was part of this family of people you've taught for years, and accepted me for exactly who I was.
Amy?
Colin's coming in.
I have to get your phone.
Yes.
Where's your phone?
What's a speech without Colin? That first year, the book that meant the most to me was The Outsiders. A quote from The Outsiders that was said by Ponyboy to Johnny quoted, "Stay gold, Ponyboy, stay gold." This quote is actually hanging in your house where we have class. And in the book, it's an allusion to the poem by Robert Frost, and it means that life is made of fleeting moments and good things don't last. See? Illusion. I did remember something. But in The Outsiders, it seems to be more about Ponyboy telling Johnny to stay good and true to himself. I've always wondered if you were more Frost or Ponyboy. Anyways, when I think of that quote, I think of you, and I'm reminded to want to stay gold. When I ended that year, I was already feeling excited for next year's class. In my second year, there were 2 books that you made us read that I learned a lot from. The first is To Kill a Mockingbird. Atticus Finch is the main character in the story and a father to his daughter Scout. With his wise and calm energy, he reminded me of Mrs. B. Mrs. B is the Atticus to our Scout. She is calm, encouraging, and truthful. Whenever there was a crisis or heated discussion in our class, you kept us focused and allowed us to feel those emotions in a safe way, just like Atticus did for Scout. With this encouragement Miss B constantly had shining through her, I couldn't help but be reminded of her when I read the second book of that year, The Help. In this book, one of the characters, Aibileen, a Black nanny to many white families, would always say to her kids, and I quote, "You is smart, you is kind, you is important." Mrs. B emphasized this quote for us in so many ways, just like in class with encouraging words. For example, one day in Mrs. B's class, she asked us to take a couple minutes to write a paragraph using the triac form. As everybody began to write their paragraphs, I just remember sitting there full of doubt, anxiety, and not thinking I could do it. Before I knew it, I look up to see Miss B mouthing me, "Are you okay?" And before I could even form a response, she's already walking over to me, over my shoulder, telling me everything's going to be okay, calming me down, and making me feel confident. Not to mention all the many texts she would send in to check on us, all the supportive comments on our homework that you also shared with classmates and parents, gassing us up to everyone. Miss B was always there for us. It was like she was our second mom. The third year of class, World Lit, we read The Glass Castle. This book was about a family that had controlling, crazy parents, but they still had their good moments. You've made us a family every single year, accepting new people that stayed and some that went, teaching us to love each other despite another's opinion and just have fun. Although we were not nearly as dysfunctional as the Walls, we were definitely as adventurous, whether that be our fly swatter games, Goodberries trips, or escape rooms. This book truly helped me see that there can still be good fruit that comes from what looks like a bad field. And finally, in our last year together, British literature. The Screw Tape Letters meant a lot to me. In this book, a demon, Screwtape, tells his fellow demon Wormwood how to tempt the patient, which is us, humans. In letter 6, one of the tactics was that Screwtape would make us focus on anxiety, uncertainty, and the negatives of our current situations, instead of keeping our eyes on God's promises and his peaceful plan. When we began our first few classes online, I began to take our isolation rule to heart, not wanting to participate or having the energy to do our homework. But in this extra anxious time of uncertainty, Miss B still kept us all focused with routine, flexibility, and concern. Miss B, you have been the defense against this tactic for me this year. So in conclusion, thank you for all you've done and for pouring all you can out to us, not even knowing truly what would come. Oh, I'm so mad I'm crying. But I hope we've made you proud of the results you've made. You've been one of the biggest blessings to me in my life. And I feel so bittersweet about this journey coming to an end, but I feel prepared with all the lessons you've taught me, not only in school, but in life. So I thank you again for sowing into us and believing we could produce a harvest worthy of your efforts. So with a virtual hug, I love you, Miss B, and thank you.
I love you too, Brynn. Hang on, everybody.